We are Derek Green and Serge Stenerevich from swtor-life.com, and we're honored to be here today to speak with Damion Schubert. Thank you for this interview, Damion.
It's my pleasure.
Damion, for those that might be new to the community and new to Tor, could you tell us a little bit about what your job is for Bioware and what you do?
All right, so I'm the lead system designer, and so what that generally means is that I have two primary responsibilities. One is that I'm in charge of the design of all non-story, non-combat stuff, and so things that fall under my purview are maps, itemization, a whole bunch of features you haven't seen yet, but we should be talking about real soon now. You know, I'm the person who takes feedback from, you know, like GUI and the mechanics of GUI and sort of translates that. So my responsibilities first off is to be sure that I'm the one that manages the communication with the programmers, the iterations from design there, adding new features and getting those into the system there. And then secondly, I have a team that does the maps and the itemization and these other features that we're not quite ready to talk about. Crew Skills is one of those. We do all of the data for that. And, you know, that's pretty much a full day. So,
yeah, I imagine. You've had a really long career in the industry, because I remember for at least since like 2002 I've been reading the articles you post on your blogs in a design.
I really should update that one.
Well, you've got a lot of fascinating things on there. What other games have you been involved with in the past that players new to the genre might remember you from?
The most significant thing I've worked on is Meridian 59, and that's just significant because it was an early entrant into the MMO space. It was one of the first MMOs. We got a good 150 people into that game at a time. So, like, you know, just it was still an order of magnitude smaller the server size than WoW, but it was still massively multiplayer compared to back then. You know, Quake servers held like 16 or 32 people. We also were the ones that brought a monthly fee to internet gaming instead of the hourly fee that you had before that. After that, I did some stuff on stuff that didn't ship. I did some consulting work on various projects. Then I worked on Shadowbane. I helped them ship that, get a couple of expansion packs there, and then I came here.
Shadowbane was a fabulous game. I liked it a lot.
Shadowbane had Shadowbane is a wonderful project. We did many things wrong. It was a very green studio, but at the same time, the vision of Shadowbane was always something I considered to be absolutely amazing.
I liked it a lot myself. I know that you've spoken on this issue before, but our community asks a lot of the same questions all the time. They want to know that, you know, you and Daniel Erickson and Patrick Mallet have been the most outspoken about the Crew Skills system. But one of the things they want to know about is specifically crafting in the Crew Skills system, and how you're trying to ensure that the crafter feels necessary, needed, you know, in the environment. I know that you've told us that before, but that's a question we get answered over and over again. Get asked over and over.
So the short answer is that we want to ensure that people who craft as dedicated crafters, and you've probably heard me say this over and over again, can craft stuff that no one else can craft. And pretty much the way that we're going to go about this is we have a way, and you know, I'm not going to lift the skirt fully on this. These guys will be able to research new recipes that will take great cost, great dedication, rare resources once they actually find these rare recipes to be able to make. And, you know, as I mentioned before, what I'm really hoping is that these rare recipes are powerful enough that they end up being sought on by the whole server for those particular recipes.
Kind of like, I think you've spoken before about the possibility that some of these things may be like a server-only type recipe for the player, that they may have the chance to be able to craft something that they're one of the few on the server that can do
That's where we'd like to go.
with the equipment.
You know, and whether or not we hit that exact balance point, it's going to be hard to get this out of the gate, absolutely correct, because it's really hard to test whether or not your percentages, your flow is just right until you actually have a full server full of people. Testing almost any facet of an economy is really hard until you have that in place. But you know what we really want is that kind of, because when you really get down to an economy, the way that you have exceptional craftsmen is you have that kind of scarcity, right? And the other thing is that we felt, especially with the crew skill system, we felt that because your crew is doing stuff for you, they're actually crafting the stuff, we really wanted there to be a role for the player. And so the research system that is not yet defined yet, well, it's defined for me. Part of the role is that, that's your role. That is, to use fashion designer terms, Versace doesn't sew all of his clothes, right? Versace is the guy who goes out and invents the new thing, and then he that's kind of, when we're thinking about, okay, how can we actually capture crafting, but still kind of do it in a manufacturing environment? What does that mean? That's kind of where we led, and we really like the system because it keeps your importance to the role, but it also elevates the importance of your companion characters, who, for the most part, to be frank, before this, most of them were sitting on your ship doing nothing before the system came along. So.
On the SWTOR homepage, we've got crafting missions, gathering and treasure hunting skills. We've still got some blank spots there. Is there any way that you might want to reveal some of those?
I'm pretty sure the answer to that is no. The ones that haven't been revealed yet need to be revealed with the other system we have not yet revealed, which I'm sure that people who are smart could probably guess at, but we're not talking about it yet. So we have good reasons for not talking about these yet.
Right. Okay. That's just one of the things that constantly we get asked about. Do you know what the next skills are going to be, when they're going to be revealed? Do you have any idea what they're going to lead to?
We're kind of overdue for a review.
For crafting, yeah.
I think. So we'll probably do that pretty soon.
And we're at and this is not just crew skills related, but we're at a point where I've had this backlog of stuff that's been being refined on the beta servers. And so like 4 months ago, they asked me, "What are you ready to talk about on the articles?" I'm like, "Oh hell no, nothing." This is all uncooked because to me, I don't want to commit to anything that I don't feel good about because I don't want anybody to get emotionally invested to. Right. Hey, what happens if Arms Tech turns out to be terrible, right? And, we want to cut that skill. You'll have that one guy out there who's like, "No, dude, it's Arms Tech all the way. We never should have cut that. The game will be terrible because..." Right, so, I never want to tell you guys something that I then have to defend that we're going to take out. But now when they asked me last week, I'm like, "Oh, sure, I can write articles about this, and so hopefully over the next few months you guys will see more stuff from me and my team."
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Talking about rare and elite schematics, how can crafters expect to find these items? Will they be like Flashpoint or Warzone drops, or will they just be random drops off mobs in the game?
We'll have some of those in that are drops. The mission system will also return some as well. But I think the bulk of it will actually come from this aforementioned research system.
That you haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, that I'm lightly hinting at here. The general philosophy is, while we want the raider who goes to a dungeon to find something for himself, the crafter who goes to a raid to find something that he can use, we also don't want to make it so that these competitive crafters have to raid. And we think that the research system is, we want to design it to be sure that you have this angle that you can do that.
That's really cool. I didn't expect to hear that. Go ahead.
There's a really big, crafters like what they made, and they want to be known about what they made. So is there going to be like something that differentiates the stuff that they make?
Yeah, there's a maker's mark on the gear.
Yeah, so is it just like a tooltip, or do you have a logo, or can you like
It's
customize
just-
the colors, or is it just a tooltip?
Right now, your maker's mark is just your name on the tooltip.
Yeah, it says
And
that.
yes, it's your name and not your companion character's name, because
Yeah.
Versace puts his
Right,
name on,
right.
Yes,
on the clothes, right?
So it's just, like item made by, player name. So is there any plans in the future that possibly we may get some kind of graphical interface for the crafters to mess around with, to change the color, or maybe the look of the
Or is that on the
graphic of
crazy
item?
wall?
There are many things on the crazy wall in that vein.
On the crazy wall?
To be correct, it's the wall of crazy.
Oh,
The
sorry.
wall of crazy?
I think, I know, I mean, I don't want to step on Damion's toes, an important thing to realize about anything where it involves user-generated content, which is what essentially you're talking about. There's lots of barriers and hoops that we have to make people jump through, and there's always a consideration that, I know this is a family podcast, but, the internet lore of penises, right? If there is any way that someone can create a penis in a multiplayer environment, they will immediately do it.
There is actually a term that designers throw around when talking about MMO design called time to penis.
No.
And that is
Second life.
how long does it take for in any online game, player created content to actually be able to populate the entire world with phallic symbols. So,
And the answer is not very long, usually.
Yeah.
and so any customization that we have, and this is part of, we're not making Second Life, we're not making Minecraft.
That's our
Anything like that we were ever to do sometime in the future would probably not be to that level of degree.
Okay.
Alright.
Thank you.
Going back to the rare and elite schematics, whenever a person acquires one of those, how free will they be to be able to distribute them out to the economy? I mean, are they going to be bind on pickup,
We're,
bind on equip, or?
we're still figuring that out. I can't tell you that research is bound to you. I mean,
Because, things like being able to supply your friends and supply the auction house and create a market.
you mean the actual being able to
The
sell
transfer
your
up
gear?
the schematic
recipe.
itself.
Or the recipe for the gear.
The schematic will probably generally be typically bound, but again, the primary way for you to get the resources will be something that you can do with your own skill set effectively. So,
Are certain types of missions likely to drop certain types of schematic? Like if I'm doing a treasure, or if my companion's doing a treasure hunting mission, and I have the armor mech skill, will the reward from that mission more than likely be something I can use, or will it just be random?
different mission skills bring back different rewards, and some of them feed crafting skills. Again, I talked a little earlier about typically the way that these research things do is they demand harder to get crafting materials, and the missions help feed that, for example.
Yeah, that was interesting talking this morning.
So it's one of those things where we wanted to be sure that the missions helped with the crafting game, but in our first iteration, the missions, all they did was feed the crafting skills, and that was actually kind of lame because we really wanted the missions to be sort of something you did if you don't care about crafting, and so we've sort of dialed that down, and now the missions give you other returns, and the crafting stuff is kind of a bonus that you can throw in the auction house when you get one, and it seems to be playing better, but we'll know at the end of this next cohort whether or not it plays well. So.
Well, we got one more question.
Quick.
Can we go ahead? Okay. You guys have talked in the past about the use of an offline skill quote for crafting crew skills system.
You mean like an iPhone app?
Yeah. Is there going to be the
or a web app.
possibility of something in that in the future?
Wall of crazy.
Okay.
Right.
But how, on which part of the wall of crazy, do we really want that, or it's something that we hope for in the future?
To be honest, right now, it is really hard to work on any feature like that until the actual design of any system settles down, right? And so, because crew skills are important, and because we are really iterating on it, changing GUI, changing the mechanics on it still. It's good, but we want it to be perfect before we get it to you. It's just not appropriate to even start thinking about that kind of thing right now. And right now, as I mentioned to me before, our top priority is we want to get this product to you, right?
Yes.
We've been working on it a long time. We're extremely proud of what it is. Man, this is definitely not going to be the sort of thing that we delay shipping this game.
Yeah.
So this will almost certainly happen post-ship. What our priorities are post-ship will entirely be set by what community wants, what our market demands, how well we're doing, some degree what our competition is doing. I mean, we have plans, but there's an old adage that your combat plan doesn't survive first contact with the enemy. It's the same sort of thing there. So it's on the wall of crazy. It's someplace I want to go when it happens.
We'll know.
Possibly in the future, maybe something like auction house integration type thing. Maybe.
All of that stuff, I will say that we are completely and totally aware of the possibilities of it.
Right.
We're completely aware that other companies do stuff like that. Right now, it's just.
All right.
We need to get the game up. We need to get our real website up on the back end.
Thank you. I appreciate this.
They've gone on all day.
Thank you very much.